All right, everybody, welcome back. Today we are joined by TACO DAO. I'm joined by Vic and Taco from the TACO DAO. We're going to be having a conversation about what's going on. They just recently launched their SNS. Huge stuff going on there. But I guess before we get started, Vic and Taco, do you want to, introduce yourselves? And Taco, you could go first.
Well, I am Taco. I am a longtime finance professional and math guy, and I found the IC back in 2021 around Genesis. I was looking all over, and IC was the only one that could really do everything. So I decided to get involved for the first time in a community. The SNS1 community was really what sucked me in. And really from 2022 on, I've been an active part of the IC, and it's the only community I'm a part of.
Love it. And Vic, you?
I am not a professional of any kind, unlike my partner Taco here. I just manage the X page. I'm supposed to be the community manager. Wrote the white paper, and I'm pretty happy and excited to contribute to DAOs.
So, Taco and Vic, for my first question, it's basically going to be around Taco. You kind of answered it already, but how did you guys first get into crypto? So, Taco, you could go first.
So I heard about ETH back in, I think, 2018. I didn't do too much about it. The first crypto I really got involved in was the internet computer. I did my schizo research, and it was the first thing that I really believed the story that they could do everything in a trustless way and really be a crypto that did something and not just part of the thing. So I got involved soon after Genesis, and in 2022, I found SNS1, and that was the community that really got me excited. The SNS1 community was the launch pad for everything, and Vic ran that launch pad, so that's also where I met him.
Ooh, that's interesting. So, what about you, Vic? How did you get into crypto?
Yeah, I mean, I traded some shit coins for a while, try to find little gems on Biz and shit like that. But didn't really, involve myself as a contributor into anything up until the moment that I saw the SNS1 launch and kind of the letter to the community from the SNS development team got me excited. They wrote something along the lines of anyone across the world can come and make their contributions to this blank slate DAO and make whatever they want out of it. And I'm like, damn, that sounds pretty fucking based. So I got involved, pitched some ideas for what SNS1 can turn into. Some people liked those ideas and kind of went from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then SNS1 would go on to become Dragons, aka DKP, which, Taco, I think you're a big part of that community, correct?
I don't know if I'm a big part of it, but I've been in that community sort of since it was the SNS1 community, and I'm proud to be a whale of dragons. It's the only token I'm really a big holder of at this point, getting ready for taco and impartial conversations.
That's fire. So, I guess my first question, or not my first question, my next question is like, what is Taco DAO? If you could, kind of explain it.
Sure. I'll take my shot at it, and then Vic. But the core idea is we are going to be the first bottom up managed portfolio managed by a DAO in a trustless way in crypto. The way the process works, we decide together in a due diligence conversation what's true about a project. We vote on the SNS. Do we trust this project? Yes, no. If we can't get to 51%, it doesn't make it in our portfolio. We don't buy anything. If it does make that bar, we still don't buy anything. Everyone just gets a chance to vote on exactly how much of their voting power should go to each token. And then we just, using smart contracts, aggregate what everyone's vote is. We look at the current portfolio and say, this is our target. This is, what we have. And we place orders with an algorithm. So everyone decides together in a trustless way what belongs in the portfolio, and in a similar trustless blind way how much of each token. And at the end of the day, we end up with something like an index of the best tokens on IC.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like I was about to say that. So it's basically like an index, which is pretty cool. So it's essentially an aggregate of what would the DAO's vision or Taco DAO's vision of the best projects on the IC, which I think is pretty cool. So I guess the next thing is, who is behind the whole entire project? Obviously, Taco and Vic, you're here with us today, but who else is involved with the Taco DAO project?
That's a good question. There were three founders initially. TRX was the third. TRX stepped away from the project right as we were launching, and we were fortunate to get Snazzy, the lead dev of Sneed DAO, to take over as our lead dev. So we are under the comfy umbrella of Snazzy, leading the ship here. Eric Rose is our front end dev and has been since the beginning. So he's really he's been a point of continuity, and he's been really great keeping things organized and keeping permissions permissionless, right, and available to all of us. I don't know how we would have handled the departure of TRX without Eric. So big shout out to him. And all of our visuals, our color palette, our logo came from EV, the NFT artist. So big thank you to EV. He is not part of the management team, just to be clear. He's just the source of all things that are pretty in Taco DAO.
Yeah, that's really cool, and that's really important. And the guy you highlighted there, Snazzy, I think he's probably one of the best developers in the IC. Super smart guy, ships, so that's definitely like a really nice pickup. And when I saw that, that made me a lot more bullish on Taco DAO because that guy, he puts in a lot of good work and he knows what he's doing. I guess my next question would be, is what will the utility token, so there was an SNS sale that just was completed recently. Congratulations, you guys raised over like 100,000 ICP, which is absolutely huge. So congratulations on that. But for the people who participate in the sale and everything, what will be the utility for the token? I guess.
Yep. So first of all, we've got 3 days left. So we're at
Okay.
105K and counting.
Sorry, I messed up there.
Don't sell us short. So so the utility is we are a governance token, right? Just like any SNS that launches. Taco governs as of day one, it will govern a portfolio. The portfolio again will be voted on by the DAO in terms of what to trust and what not to trust, and then allocations are also going to be voted on by the DAO. So deciding what goes in that, eventually we have voting rewards planned, but not in the traditional sense where we create inflation. We're going to take Taco from our treasury and we're going to distribute it to the best performing voters, right? So not just did you vote, great, here's your money, but did you vote and how good were your choices? So if people want to come and vote on some crap meme, we're not going to reward that in the same way as someone who really put some thought and diligence into their voting. So that's that portfolio, what goes in it, and eventually the voting rewards behind it are really the core product. We also have a lot more planned, and really, depending what the DAO does, we could have a huge product. If you look at the S&P 500, Standard and Poor's doesn't just manage a portfolio, right? They created an index and they have a whole suite of businesses around it. I'm not saying we're going to become like them or imitate them, but I do think the DAO should be open to, we're creating one thing. If it works, there's a lot of next steps that we could decide to take together, right? Assuming our treasury is going up and not going down, really the sky is the limit.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't think there is there anything like this on ICP currently.
There's
No, I
nothing
mean,
like this on
yeah,
ICP. There's nothing like this in crypto in general, and there's nothing like this in traditional finance.
yeah. The thing that makes it really special is that it's alive, right? It's not like we decide beforehand, yes, no, we buy, and then we like have a very slow vote later. Like that's very Web 2. That's like shareholder meeting, right? And there's no real improvement there. We're deciding together on a daily and really moment to moment basis because allocation voting is instantaneous, the exact composition of the index, right? So at any given moment, that allocation is going to be a really good indicator of A, what we, the community, trust, and B's sentiment towards each token. Um, the fact that it's in there is going to be good for any token, but I think people will start watching that voting and seeing it as a bellwether for the community as a whole. Um, I think it'll be a fun process. I know my dad, who's like a very methodical type of mindset. He likes, he likes keeping track of football pools and that thing. He has no idea what crypto is, but I think Taco DAO is something he can understand, right, without getting stressed out and having to sell something. So I like us as a tasty entry point to the ecosystem for the eco.
Yeah, that's really nice. And it's not, and one of the nice things about the project, it's not very hard to explain. Like, I think you could explain it, you know, to somebody who really doesn't even understand crypto and is just into, I guess you have to understand probably a little bit of traditional finance to kind of get your head around it. But like, you're able to basically say it's, hey, you own this token, and then you're getting exposure to this, portfolio of, you could say, call them companies, startups, whatever. And that's essentially what it is. It's pretty similar to, some products that are offered in traditional finance. So I think it's a very good thing because, we need to attract people to the IC and to crypto in general who are not just, super into the blockchain, but also from traditional finance, etc. I guess my next question is there anything in this project that's, I guess, ICP chain specific, meaning you're doing this with the project that can only be done on ICP and cannot be done on any other chain?
So the way the portfolio is managed is through allocation votes. So every token that we add to compose our portfolio is going to make up a list. And every single member with voting power, you get voting power by locking up your tokens for a week, can run a slider for every single token on this allocation interface. So, and these sliders are like defining percentages for what they think should be the portfolio's composition. So they could put like 50% ICP, 20% CKBTC, 20% Kong, etc., 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 until the total is 100%, and then they put their vote through. And all the other DAO members do the same, and the Taco DAO aggregates all of these votes, and that creates its allocation strategy. This is not possible on any other blockchain because the gas is too high. They're centralized in some way. DAOs are just basically, I don't think really DAOs on other chains. I don't want to speak too harsh, but I think ICP really unlocks DAOs with sophisticated governance that can operate on scale.
Yeah, our front end is fully on chain, right? Which you can't do on any other chain. So we operate in a truly trustless way. And SNS is really best in class DAO governance framework. That's why Hedera partnered with ICP. And that's why we're leveraging it. So, it's not just on ICP, but it's a really robust framework maintained and created by Dfinity, right? That we don't have to do anything about. We don't have to pay a team of 10 devs to create and maintain DAO framework. Instead, we can just let Snazzy focus on what he's good at, right? And Eric presenting it all on a platter on the front end.
Yeah, for sure. Um, and yeah, so my final question would be, what are some future plans for Taco DAO? I almost said Taco DAO. Taco DAO. What do you guys have coming in the future? Beyond what you guys are doing right now, or are you guys just gonna keep trying to improve, or like, what do you guys got going on for the future? I guess you could say next 6 months to a year.
That's a great question. I think I'll say it generally, and you can say what you're excited about, Vic. Our sort of we have a rollout and ramp up plan, right? Like right now, we don't trust anything. We trust ICP and we trust DKP because it's our roots and what we did our pre-sale in. We're still going to go through due diligence on it, but it'll make it through. Um, Beyond that, we need to go through due diligence, but we also need to agree on our process, right? And Vic's going to be really leading that charge, and we need to make sure the DAO agrees with what we're going through and the end product that we have there. And once we agree on the process, we can establish what projects we trust. We also need to decide, right now the way that we trade gets us from allocation to fully allocated in 1 week. Maybe the DAO wants to be way more aggressive. Maybe we think it's a stupid idea personally, but hey, the DAO's in charge, and that's something else we can discuss and vote on. So I think all those kind of foundational things are going to take a couple of months. We also are going to be trading real size with this algorithm for the first time, and we want to be careful, right? We don't want to just throw 100,000 ICP at it. We're going to drip into it and make sure it's behaving itself before we get to a significant portion there. So give us, I'd say even 3 to 6 months to really make it stable, robust. I don't want to say unbreakable, but the best that we can get to unbreakable. And then we start to have, maybe a little bit more fun. If we can get more developers on board and we can afford it, of course we can work faster, but it might take us 6 months just to get a really good, something with reporting, something where every person has a track record, where the DAO has a track record. We've got really good visualization. Because to me, making the core product great is the most important thing. And then we built a fucking DEX. We spent a lot of money and time, but we put it on ice because it's a lot of work to maintain. It's a lot of support. And there's some great DEXs in the IC already, but we could dust that off. We could also, Snazzy created a great aggregator. I'd love to somehow make a portal to that aggregator through the TACO DAO, and really give people a one-stop shop for swapping and everything else. Salsa season's our big plan, and we've talked about it a lot. But we need trusted projects first. We also need to actually develop the code, right? So it's a little bit away, but if we're able to do a shared rewards framework for the best projects on ICP, that's the big enhancement that I'm definitely the most excited about. Um, Vic, I like the way that you explain it sort of quickly, but it's supposed to be a place that we already trust the projects. We have one dashboard. The projects decide what tasks they reward, and how much they want to, assign Taco to those tasks. And, the Taco team and the Taco framework takes care of the rest, distributes the rewards in Taco, etc. Um, so I think that'll take a good part of our capacity for the rest of the year.
I guess, Vic, do you have anything to add?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we said the name of Salsa Season, but we didn't explain it succinctly. Salsa Season is basically going to be a rewards hub for a bunch of rewards programs on ICP. So any DApp that we trust that we accept into the program can add whatever incentive programs they have running on their dApps. They add it to the central hub, and then you have all these different rewards programs in one place. And hopefully the effect of that is when a user interacts with one dApp to get some rewards from there, they go right back to the hub and interact with another, and they only have to collect rewards from one place. And it's going to run seasonally, 2 weeks per quarter, and hopefully this should generate some hype around the event itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds really cool, and I really like what you guys are doing, and I completely understand where you're coming from, Taco, when it comes to development. Like, sometimes development just takes time, especially when you have these small development teams and you're trying to do all this stuff. I guess last thing is, where do people find your guys' socials and stuff? Where do we send them to if they're interested in checking out the Taco DAO and everything?
TacoDAO.com is pretty much the only thing that you need. We've got our white paper up there right now. There's a link to the SNS that you've got 3 more days for. Um,
And from
the
there, you can find links to our Discords, to our open chat. Our X page is Taco DAO ICP, and that's about it, really.
Yeah, fun fact, our Discord is actually the former SNS1 Discord that Vic used to manage. So some of you out there might be part of the Taco DAO Discord and not even know it.
That's a really interesting fun fact. And yeah, maybe in the future I have these people on my show again. It was really nice having you guys on, learning about Taco DAO, and also hopefully some people in the audience learn about Taco DAO for the first time and everything. Once again, their sale is live, 3 days left in the sale. And if you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe to me, leave a like, leave a comment. Go follow me on my X at @AaronBremser_. Join my Telegram, and yeah, thank you for watching.